I know every YouTuber says this, but I did not want to make this video. Yes, I'm going to be reading off of a script for the first section of this video, so if you see my eyes glance a different direction, then now you know why. So first off, I wanted to go through Blair, or as she goes by, Illuminaughtee's video in its entirety, but I should probably tell you what happened in the past few months, just in case you forgot. So the Illuminaughtii drama. You've probably seen this drama in some way or another on YouTube. And I swear this woman is the dumbest person you'll ever see. So I decided I'm not going to stand here and watch any of this happen any longer. So, what did Illuminaughtii do? Well, I'll give you guys a brief summary. She first off accused another documentary channel of stealing effects that she used in her videos, which is the dumbest thing I've ever heard, because anyone can use those effects on that software, and claiming they're yours is therefore false. Then she got exposed for plagiarizing other documentaries word for word, and then she was allegedly bullying another YouTuber called Wonderstruck by throwing his belongings in the trash and stealing said belongings and his car. Now, I don't know what the relationship is between these people, but it probably is not good now. Then, for some dumb reason, she sent Wonderstruck a cease and desist despite stealing his belongings and not saying a word about it. So, as you can tell, this person is a great YouTuber, ain't it? Aren't they? Yeah. Anyways, we're going to be watching her video, her response, actually, to the drama. Don't need that anymore, because I'm not reading the script for the rest of it. There's no script. So, yeah. Alright. So, it's this video here called Illuminaughtii Exposed. So here we go.
Hey everyone. Well, there's no really fun or interesting way to start this conversation. So, you guys know what you're here for, and I'm just going to jump into it the way I know how to.
Oh yeah, I forgot to mention. She also bullied another YouTuber named The Click, who's right here in the recommended, and was on like a podcast that they made called Sad Milk, they had to like shut it down essentially, so kind of dumb, kind of stupid of her, honestly. Anyways.
So I'm sure as all of you know, many things have been said about me in the past week, like week and a half-ish, and I'm someone who often doesn't speak my side of things, and that's something that's also been noted. Just for kind of transparency in this, I'm going to be working from some of like my notes that I've written to accomplish two main things. The first is mainly to keep me on track with the subject matter and off of tangents. I know I like to go off on tangents and talk about various topics all the time, but this is not that time.
Try that again.
Hey everyone. Well, there's no really fun or interesting way to start this conversation, so you guys know what you're here for, and I'm just going to jump into it the way I know how to. So I'm sure as all of you know, many things have been said about me in the past week, like week and a half-ish, and I'm someone who often doesn't speak my side of things.
Oh yeah, we can tell.
And that's something that's also been noted. Just for kind of full transparency in this, I'm going to be working from some of like my notes that I've written to accomplish two main things. The first is mainly to keep me on track with the subject matter and off of tangents. I know I like to go off on tangents and talk about various topics all the time, but this is not that time. The second reason is really just to keep my emotions in check. A lot of the things that I'm going to talk about in the most of this video, to be totally honest with you, are things kind of from the past. They involve old friends, people that I used to consider close friends and I used to trust and really enjoy spending time with, and kind of reopening a lot of these wounds is really painful. It's really uncomfortable, and it's not something I ever thought I would ever have to speak about, especially not in this kind of way. After a few days of self-reflection and really thinking about what I want to say and how I want to talk about these things, I think now is the right time. To be perfectly honest, I'm feeling pretty vulnerable to have this conversation with so many people and so publicly, especially since some of the things that I'm going to talk about today are really personal and things in my private life that should have never become content fodder. So let me try something new today, and I'm going to address these issues.
This is the person, Legal Eagle is the person that they accused of stealing the effects from. So let's just see this.
Now, before we get into debunking many false statements that have been made about me, I want to start with an apology. I have apologized privately to Legal Eagle the day after this incident occurred, though I have not been publicizing that until right now. Maybe this is something I should have said sooner, but I needed the time to think through the events that have preceded. And for those unaware, a short story. My editors came to me about how parts of a Legal Eagle video looked similar to our videos. And then there were messages and an email from one of Legal Eagle's editors asking for more information about how we do certain effects. I looked at the compared images that were brought to me and I said, wow, that does look pretty similar, and I impulsively posted about it on Twitter. Truthfully, I should have looked into this more instead of just putting the information out there the second I had a gut reaction about it. I should have asked him what the emails were about, but I didn't, and I made a mistake, and plain and simple, I was wrong. So to Legal Eagle and team, I just want to reiterate that I messed up, and I'm sorry for any stress this may have caused you, and of course to your team.
She's not sorry.
I know I apologized privately and removed the tweets with that apology, and I'm now publicly sharing that information with all of you. And I want to extend that apology to my audience and to listeners who are disappointed in me for this, because I'm also disappointed in myself.
We're not just disappointed in you. We are ashamed to be living on the same plane of existence as you, actually.
Quick drawn decision, and it wasn't thought out. I promise to do better. Now, as we continue in this video, I do want to give you a heads up that there will be trigger warnings for various sections as needed. I also want to go ahead and let you know that I will be providing a public Google Drive containing any and all relevant information that I will address in this video, similar to how I provide a source document for every episode of mine.
So, these are the plagiarism accusations where she allegedly plagiarized other people's documentaries. Let's see it.
Let's start with the first accusation and go from there. After Legal Eagle responded in his tweets, there was another tweet that arose in tandem to this situation. And that tweet was made by another YouTuber called HBomberGuy. And this YouTuber is someone who also creates longer form content. As someone who creates this type of content and researches various topics, the main thing to keep in mind is the source material used. Things like articles, interviews, videos, documentaries, academic essays, and so on and so forth. As video essayists, this is a core concept to both Harris and myself. Before I get into the accusation itself, I want to address the topic of plagiarism. And that word has been tossed around a ton, and it's not something to be taken lightly. And I just want to take a minute to define this word. On screen are definitions for the word plagiarism as defined by Merriam-Webster, Dictionary.com, and the University of Oxford. I'm showing multiple sources to...
Let's see here. To steal and pass off the ideas of words of another as one's own use. An act, instance of plagiarizing, an active instance of closely imitating the language and thoughts of another author, and presenting work or ideas from another source that you own with or without consent from the original author.
Defining plagiarism, but the overall definition is going to boil down to this. Plagiarism is to take someone else's idea as their own or to not credit the source.
No, you forgot the "and" in between to take someone else's idea as their own and the to not credit the source thing. You forgot the "and" instead of the "or" here.
With that definition being clearly identified, let's go ahead and take a look at what Harris brought to the Twitter table. Harris posted this video saying, and I quote, "Personally, at Illuminaughtii, I would define plagiarism as something a bit more specific. For example, copying someone else's documentary directly into your script." End quote. However, in his own video, he shows where I'm audibly quoting a direct line from the documentary, and even visually you can see it on the screen with the quotation marks. Additionally, you can even see the dual ellipses on either end of that quote, indicating that more of that source was being cited. When you go to my sourcing page for this particular episode, you can also see that the documentary is listed as a source. It has been 3 years since I posted this episode, and I've been really grateful to be able to continually learn and grow with time. Since then, I have learned to be much more overt and obvious with citations, something that may not have been perfectly clear to me 3 years ago. I apologize for the oversight of not making that quote more clear. At the time of recording, it was really obvious to me that it was a citation of the documentary, especially in full context of that section of my video, because that section was wholly dedicated to Brian Deere's work. And for some clarification, I would like to provide both you and Harris with the script that I was working off of. It will be available in the Google Drive. While I believe emphasizing the key phrase of the quote about stopping injections on autistic children was, and still is, very important to point out, the quote should have been fully displayed on screen. This was certainly a poor editing choice, and it's an editing style that I no longer
Oh, bullshit! That was a poor editing choice.
utilize, but it's most certainly not plagiarism. But with that being said, I still want to take accountability where it's needed, so I still would like to apologize for the citation not being made more clear visually in that video. Harris, I am also someone who takes plagiarism seriously. And I do see where your criticism comes from, but unfortunately, this was simply an oversight on an editing error, but not an act of plagiarism. To me, at the time of the recording, the entire section was very obviously a citation, even as seen in the script. There was a visual change to break up the many words that would otherwise be just chunked onto the screen, which, looking back at it, despite not being so visually appealing to have tons of words on the screen, this should have been an opportunity to provide that full quote to avoid any confusion like this whatsoever. Based on the definition of the word plagiarism, his claims are simply false. Not only is the source quoted on screen, it's also...
Dude, it doesn't matter if you used quotation marks. You're still, saying the exact same thing.
Cited in the sources list, which, again, I will provide in the Google Drive. As a more seasoned video essayist now, I've been lucky that I'm able to continue learning how to showcase facts and other relevant materials in an interesting and educational way. And I'm really excited that I get to continue doing that.
Yeah, you shouldn't be excited for long, because you're not going to be doing this for long, honestly.
I'd like to think that in the last 3 years, myself and my team have grown to create better content that is educational and entertaining, and this is clearly an example of how we have improved since that time. I have nothing but love for everyone on my team, from editors, writers, artists, and even some of the not-so-fun kind of clerical duties like payroll. I'm always going to have their back, even if sometimes things slip through the cracks.
Yeah, you clearly didn't have the back of the Click, or what was his name? Don't know how I forgot. Wonderstruck.
We're a team of people
Clearly didn't have their backs.
who make human mistakes. We're going to continue to improve content as the years continue, and we'll always be able to learn and improve from the past.
Okay, this is the thing with the Click, basically.
Before I address any one person individually, I want to kind of cover everything in a general and broader scope regarding Sad Milk. Sad Milk was a collaboration channel started by 6 friends in 2020. It was kind of essentially group Reddit readings and just looking at cringe things online and reacting to it. It was no big deal on the surface. This channel and this project was just meant to be something goofy, easy, and kind of cringy, but a shared channel that we could all get a kick out of. It was just supposed to be a bunch of friends hanging out, reacting to funny images, and just having a good time together. I mean, the channel name was literally called Sad Milk, so it wasn't really something that anyone was taking too seriously. Discussing Sad Milk now in current day is always a little bit bittersweet for me. It was a fun project among friends that turned sour. The issues I'm about to address cost me some of my closest friends at that time. When the Sad Milk channel was formed, I initially took the lead and I made the channel, I made the Discord, I got my mods from my server to help run the new Discord, I hired and managed video editors to help us produce more content. I was the one who was sourcing the topics and files for each video, and I was the one who had set the schedules for recording too. The reality of the situation was this.
These are the people that were a part of the of that said Sad Milk like podcast thing. That we have Oz Media, we have Illuminaughtii, we have the Click, One Topic, Salty, and Wonderstruck. So basically, Illuminaughtii is the one who organized all this, and I don't know why I'm saying this is quite obvious.
Creators in different time zones, it was logistically pretty hard to get everyone together at one place in one time. We tried to do it organically multiple times, but unfortunately someone would always end up missing from the recordings. There's a lot of work behind the scenes that goes into a YouTube channel, and I bore the brunt of it for this project. And it wasn't something that I was doing to have total control as some members have suggested. I managed the schedules and the editors because it was just something that needed to be done. People weren't stepping up to the plate, and I did, and I ultimately bit off more than I could chew. It was a lot of work, if we're being honest, and I was beginning to burn out pretty quickly. Had I known how I would have been treated through this channel and afterwards, I never would have joined this project. Essentially, everyone in the group had two main responsibilities for Sad Milk. The first was that you had to show up to the scheduled recording, and the second was you had to pay your portion of the editor's fees as they arise. After the editors were paid, any earnings that were left in the channel were split into 6 equal pieces for each person. Since this was a project among friends, we all initially agreed to just split the earnings 6 ways, even though I was taking on some extra responsibilities. When it was time to pay the editors, I wasn't answered or told that they would just get it to me later. I had to do this at various points with a vast majority of the members of the group. They would eventually get around to reimbursing me only after I expressed in group meetings how I was upset that I have to do everything, and I also got stuck footing the bill too. What quickly transpired was that members either couldn't or...
Okay, I really don't care about this. I know I said I would watch it in its entirety, but I don't care.
Didn't share was the end.
Oh, here.
And it actually cost a lot more than we earned a majority of the time. Something the Click brought up in his Twitter thread was that I was angry and yelled in a meeting, but what he didn't share was the context of that meeting. As I've previously stated, the scheduling and money issues had been an ongoing problem. In the meeting that he vaguely references,
I can only imagine Illuminaughtii screaming. It would probably be like, "Hey guys, I hate my life," whatever. Like very, very monotone screaming, I guess.
On Twitter, this is what actually happened. I had become more and more frustrated about how I was doing all of the work, I was doing all of the maintenance, and then...
But hang on, didn't you say you wanted to do all the work or something? I don't know.
I was also having to financially foot the bill to the project. As I said, it was burning me out pretty quickly, and I was thinking about leaving the group.
Then do it!
Oz Media suggested that he try to run the meeting and I not attend, and I agreed. But One Topic and Click were very insistent that I be there, even though I said I was not ready to talk and I needed more time. So when I entered the call, I tried to let everyone know that I was uncomfortable with having this conversation and I was not ready to have it. Again, I would like to point out that at this point in time, these were still my friends. These were people that I liked and cared about. Letting your friends know, hey, I'm not okay right now, I'm really stressed and hurt, while you all get to stream, I still have to pick up the pieces to keep this channel going, is a really difficult conversation to have. Before the meeting started, I was told that if I didn't show up, that they would not have the conversation with me and everything would just stagnate. So I tried to put the channel and my friends' needs above my own. Reluctantly, I joined the conversation, and as I was speaking, One Topic talked over me, and out of frustration of this happening yet again, I raised my voice and said, "Can you shut up and let me talk for once?"
Yeah, to be honest, right, people talking over you is incredibly annoying, but that doesn't justify you saying, "Can you shut up and let me talk? Like, seriously. That does not justify that kind of response.
and he left the call, and that's the last time I ever spoke with him. Looking back at it now, I should not have spoken to my friend like that. I felt that I wasn't given time to process and think things through, and in process of, emotion vomit came out. One topic, I would like to apologize for that, this time publicly. Clearly, this was a situation that affected all of us very deeply and personally, and this was an exciting idea, but one that never really took off the way I think we thought it could. To all of the members of Sad Milk, I just want to say that I'm very sorry that I caused the many claims that he made on Twitter recently. The click brings up how, as he puts it, a very videos resurfaced with him saying some not so savory things after he left Sad Milk. His old videos, as he puts it, aged like milk. They did. I'm not going to dive into it further. The information's out there if you so choose to look. And as Click stated, those videos are 11 to 14 years old. And to be perfectly clear here, those videos are not any of the reasons as to why we split ways in Sad Milk, as Click tries to insinuate. Even back in 2020, I had stated that those videos had nothing to do with the ending of Sad Milk. I was actually unaware of those videos at the time of our friendship, but had I been aware of them, that friendship would have likely ended sooner. Unfortunately, when those videos surfaced, it wasn't really all that shocking to me, as Ozmedia and I had actually talked about how Click had been using the R slur while we played games together.
Oh my god, it doesn't matter what language he uses.
Thought, or I wanted to assume that I had misheard, but Oz said that he was uncomfortable with it and said something, but the language continued. Click, you are right. Those videos in question are old, and at this point, they're kind of irrelevant. People can learn and people can change. That being said, at the time in 2020, Click was still using horrifying language and slurs that have long been deemed unacceptable. I'd now like to address the Click's claims that I had any involvement in trying to gain control of his Discord server by, as he says, tossing around accusations at...
Now, funnily enough, I remember watching the Click in, 2020, and I think it was that. I usually watched him for, his Gacha Life cringe videos and stuff. He never said anything like that. So, you are basically lying.
Staff. Because
maybe it was just the videos I was watching, but who knows?
Fortunately, there were some truly sinister things occurring in the Click's Discord that were brought to my attention. For this next section, I would like to provide a trigger warning. There will be mentions of explicit sexual language, mentions of pedophilia, graphic imagery, and inappropriate behavior around minors. Before I go any further into this, I want to mention that there's going to be resources in my description box, including myself and Ozmedia, and together to help reinstate Click's channel. Oz spoke to his MCN representative, and I spoke with YouTube directly. This is something that I now look back on with so much regret. Had I known at the time what was going on behind the scenes, I never would have participated in helping Click with his channel.
You're saying that you wouldn't help your friend if he lost his YouTube channel with... Wait, how many subs? How many subs? I forgot to mention. How many? Let's see here. Your friend who has...
in order to spread rumors or manipulate...
What is it? Hang on. 1.24 million subs. You are evil as hell. Actual villain over here.
Allow me to explain the situation a little bit. The Click and I had shared Discord moderators around the time of Sad Milk being created. Due to the Click's inaction, our shared moderators had brought a situation in his server to my attention, a situation involving pedophilia. In Click's Discord, there was a 19-year-old bragging about a 12-year-old that he was claiming to be involved with.
Okay, yeah, I don't want to do this.
An admin who explicitly accused the Click of pedophilia, nor do I have any reason to believe that he could be a pedophile. However, he cultivated an environment that was a breeding ground for inappropriate behavior with minors to occur, and that's exactly what happened. Having our shared moderators approach me in my server about this very serious situation in his server was extremely uncomfortable, but something the moderation team felt needed action that was not being taken. Furthermore, referring to these shared moderators
Let's just skip.
in the description box for a fully charged own server. I also...
Okay. employment. I've never heard of this.
With that being said, let's start with Wonder's accusation of
Wonderstruck.
very thorough explanation of events.
That's why.
With that being said, let's start with Wonder's accusation of wage theft. That's a big one, and it's important. I talk often about how paying your people is important. So
Let's
I
just get
know
into-
how ironic
Let's just see where he said, like, she was stealing stuff.
was his ultimate goal. His only task was to edit short clips from any live streams that I did so that I could post them onto my secondary channel, Illuminaughtii. In addition to his salary, he received if you as an employee are brought up in regards to how he claims that I agreed to 20, but
Just skip it.
would have me lose $47,266 infraction
Boo-hoo.
escort for the repossession if I up the 2 pairs of dirty boxers
Okay, here.
on my own. So on July 29th, 2021, I was able to get a hold of my vehicle and I took back my property.
Okay, here.
The non-emergency Austin PD Wonderstruck left the state of Colorado to go back to Austin, Texas. You can clearly see these stipulations in the document on the
See all that?
screen right now. Due to multiple defaults by Wonder in our contract, I felt that I had no choice but to repossess the vehicle, which was my property because I am the one who owned it.
So, he... Okay.
When I landed in Austin, Texas, I called the non-emergency Austin PD 311 number to explain the situation to them. I told them that I had all of my title documents on me, I had the extra key, I had my insurance cards for the vehicle, and I asked them how I should proceed. They told me they were unconcerned as I was well within my legal right to collect my own property. They furthermore offered me a police escort for the repossession if I wasn't able to collect the car on my own. So on July 29th, 2021, I was able to get a hold of my vehicle and I took back my property. I would like to take a moment to bring up the condition of the vehicle upon its repossession. Within 1 month of using the vehicle, the car was visibly soiled, trash was littered in the car, it contained dirty clothing which consisted of I think 2 pairs of the front passenger seat was somehow broken. Thank you again for helping me throughout this entire to be honest, but at this point I was just happy to have my car back and know that it couldn't be damaged any further. And Oz, I want to thank you again for helping me throughout
Oh my god, stop dick riding him.
this entire situation. No, I just want to give a quick trigger warning here for the mention of suicide and suicidal intention. After the car was back in my possession on the 29th of July, Oz and I received numerous messages from Wonder, which will be available in the Google Drive. What I specifically would like to highlight is that he insinuates that he had intention to and was taking action to arm himself to end his life. In a message directly with me, he explicitly told me that, quote, I was legit trying to get into my dad's gun cabinet to fucking kill myself. Either way, out of concern, I called the Austin Police Department non-emergency line to ask for a wellness check. And when I explained to the operator what was the situation at hand, they immediately transferred me to the 911 dispatcher. I then read the messages to them and I gave the 911 operator the last known place of his residence in Texas, which was his dad's house, to perform a wellness check. The operator then told me not to arrange anything unless the police force is present. In his messages, Wonder states that he received a call from his therapist, which ultimately pulled him out of his intended plan. And let's take a moment to discuss the therapist. During his time in Colorado, he expressed that he wanted to seek therapy, and I think that's a fantastic decision. To help him with his process, I messaged my old therapist, who I did a lot of EMDR therapy with and helped me immensely. On screen is me reaching out to her to see if she was accepting any new clients.
One dude's
To this therapist,
tall.
I did not mean to make that an issue between us at all. Barely any clothing, no food for his dog, not even a collar. When Wonder arrived in Colorado, to say he packed lightly would be a bit of an understatement. He arrived with barely any clothing, no food for his dog, not even a collar for his dog, just a bandana. As Wonder mentions on Twitter, that short amount of time we lived together
Yeah, probably because you stole all of his shit.
was absolutely a nightmare. The tension began with our dogs and his unwillingness to help ease the situation between our pets. I did everything I thought of at the time to introduce James and Casper in a way that facilitated a good relationship between the dogs. They met on neutral ground at a dog park and only had supervised play at the house. Wonder did not want to facilitate the dog play, so this really only happened under mine and Oz's supervision. And when both myself and Oz would leave the house and Wonder would stay home, he has multiple times locked Casper away in an empty room while James got free roam over the entire house. By need to seem like responsibility. During Wonder's stay in with the situation. The second incident occurred on June 24th, 2021. On the night of the 23rd, Oz and Wonder went out together. I was exhausted, and so before they both left, I let them know that I was going to bed, which is exactly what I did. I was woken up at 2:30 in the morning by Oz because Wonder was panicking because James was gone. Wonder admitted that he took James outside to go potty, then having forgotten he had done so, he left James outside while Wonder left the house with Oz. That means that he left his own dog outside unsupervised for hours on end in the middle of the night. If I was aware that James was outside unsupervised, I would have done everything to ensure his safety and brought him back inside. There was unfortunately nothing I could do as I was already downstairs in my room sleeping by the time this was all unfolding. When I was woken up by Oz, I got on the Nextdoor app and I immediately made a post to try and locate James. I got a response around 10 a.m. the next day with a call from someone who had thankfully located James. The only evidence I have of this series of events is photos of James that Wonder sent to me at 3:05 in the morning on June 24th, because I needed some photos to post on Nextdoor. As for the photo that Wonder posted claiming that I live in a hoarder home, I want to clarify that, as previously stated, Oz and I had only started moving into the home around mid-April 2021. I still had my room from a shared lease with multiple roommates until June 1st. During Wonder's stay, I was still in the process of moving in and unpacking. Furthermore, the photo he shows is a photo of a room that wasn't lived in by anyone in the house, and it was being used as a temporary storage and a couple, but I read a full goose a bit. We let you know it was off limits to you. My short and this fine, and yet I am those things right now. You've been with me through a lot of really intense and personal situations for many times. I just want to say thank you for always being my support.
Okay, I don't.
Through all of my ups and downs. I know that a lot of these personal situations in my life left me very thin than I think you'll probably ever know. Privately discussed before, everything. I take accountability for my action. So, to finish out this very difficult video for me, I want to once again just say, I take accountability for my actions.
Yeah, you say that, except you send Wonderstruck a cease and desist. Jesus Christ.
There are absolutely some stupid and dumb things that I did, and sometimes I do react a bit impulsively.
Yeah, we can fucking tell.
And that does tend to backfire on me. I am disappointed in my behavior, and I hope that I can learn from all of this.
Okay. You know what? I'm finished with all this. I'm finished with all this, okay? So, yeah, that'll be all for me. Wonderstruck, the click, I really hope you guys see this video, and I want you guys to know I am on your side. So, yeah, that's all for me today. I just wanted to kind of touch up on this drama and stuff, because, well, I've seen it all around YouTube. And yeah, that's about it. See you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.